Morning, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining me on this session. As Victoria said, I hope this should be a very engaging session where we learn and share a lot. So let's get started because we have a lot ahead. So just share my screen here very quick, and we will go from there. Everyone is seeing that. Good. So I'll go over real quick over our agenda. So first of all, I'll present myself. Then we will have a quick session of networking, so you guys will be able to know each other better. I will go over the concept of the Agile Limbo, the agility values, the dimensions of the framework itself. Then we will have two very interactive exercises in groups. That will be the medium-sized company, the startup company, and then we have a sharing at the end for your individual exercises. Sounds good? Let's get ahead. So who is me? I am a 15 years project manager experience delivering programs to customers all over the world. I'm certified in a lot of agile methods, Scrum Master, Discipline Agile, Six Sigma, etc. I hold masters in managing IT services and a post-graduation in conflict management. I'm an agility writer. I publish in specialized media as Medium, pmlink.com. I also host a YouTube channel called AgilityTalks. So I'm really passionate about team empowerment and team enablement, and passionate about agility. And that's why I developed this framework that I'm really glad to be sharing with you guys today. So no more delays. Let's get to the networking. What happens with that is that my friends, Song and Victoria, will break out the rooms so you guys get to know each other better. How many people we have right now, Victoria?
We have 9 participants at the moment.
So okay, so we can do a 5 and a 4, and we can include ourselves, something like that.
Wonderful.
Sounds good. So let's do it. Here we go. Thanks a lot for letting me know.
No problem.
Going back. So when you guys actually see this picture, what do you guys think of? So basically, we're going through all of the sessions, the Scrum sessions with our teams, trying to get our ideas together, trying to see things and throwing ideas out, a lot of ideas that didn't work, and go from there, right? So basically what this picture represents for me is a company that has started using an established framework as a Scrum. We have a lot of other frameworks in the market as a Scrumban, Kanban itself. But the idea of this picture here is that someone actually started using this, and then even with a lot of times using the framework, things cannot improve. Things cannot get better. You see that you are trapped in a lot of rituals that you just do repeatedly without knowing the real why of why you're doing things. And this is what I call Agile Limbo. So basically, we have the hype graph here. I think everyone is familiar with the Gartner's hype graph. So basically, is when you start using or start implementing a new framework, a new idea, or a new anything in your company, you start from scratch, and then you have a loss in productivity. You have a hype in, okay, this will be really good in the company. And then a loss in productivity where you actually start to implement that. And then things improve, and then you kind of reach a plateau, right? And when things are actually being done a lot of time, repeatedly, and things do not prove, this is what I call the Agile Limbo. Sorry about that. So what I call the Agile Limbo. So what we want to do with this framework, or what we want to do using agility itself within the companies is, okay, I'm here, I want to be here. I want to get things to improve. And not just being a method that, okay, things are stuck at, we just do things repeatedly and things do not improve. What I'm doing wrong, right? So the idea of Alma is to use key agile values to actually help you get there. So we are in the Agile Limbo. So we are using a prescribed framework. Iteration after iteration, things do not improve. You see low motivation and low engagement. So the issue is not in the method. So we have a lot of different methods to use that are applicable to each of the situations, right? So it's not just not Scrum, it's just not Kanban, it's just not Scrumban, it's just not traditional project management. The issue is not in the method. When you get to this plateau and things do not improve, the issue is in the value. So we need to go back and work key agile values to motivate your teams, to make sure that they're doing the things and they know why they're doing the things. They know that what they're accountable for. They know what they own, and not just doing repeatedly the operational things that they keep doing. And for working these key agile values, we need to ask the right questions. And this is what I will be proposing you now here. So for me, the first key agile value for unlocking the potential of your teams is accountability. And the key question for accountability is, do you know what you're accountable for? And if you get answers like, I just code task my tickets, it's not good, because it will mean that people are trapped in their routines. If you get another response like, oh, I'm just responsible for a team of 24 people, it's wrong again, because you do not need to be responsible for the team. You need to be responsible you need to be not just responsible, but accountable for what that team produces, what value that team gives to the company, right? And in agility, this means ownership. So this means ownership. It's not just responsibility. It's not just accountability. It means owning. Know what you own in your company. Know what part of the process or what part of the product you own in your company. So really need to own what transform your company vision into achievable goals. So you need to stop saying, I'm responsible for a team of X people, and start saying, I own my company. Doesn't matter if it's an app, a service, whatever, that enables my customers to realize the company vision. When you actually make that link and people actually understand that they are not just responsible for the daily returns, they're accountable for something that helps their customers, that makes the company realize their company visions. This is what will make things happen. This is what makes the change. So accountability is the first key agile value that will help you unlock the potential of your teams. And of course, this needs trust. Like you need to be able to give authority. You need to be able to give freedom to people to be accountable for things. And that's why you need to trust people, right? And when we get to the framework itself, the framework will give you guys direction on where you guys need to work on with your teams to actually get there. Okay, this is it for accountability. The next key value that we have is learning. And learning is an important part of agility. We always talk about agility when something, okay, I need to be able to fail to learn more. And this is what learning is all about, but not just that, as I will explain here. So the key question for learning is, do you think you're safe to fail? And if the answer starts with, oh no, I never fail, okay, something's wrong, because if people never fails, you'll never be able to do things differently and never be able to improve. So wrong answer. So, and at the other hand, if you get it, okay, no, I avoided it at all costs. Okay, wrong again, because no one is perfect. And we need to be able to fail to be able to learn, but fail safely, right? Have a space for that. And not just fail for the sake of failing and thinking that you're learning. So how you do that? So learning is about creating a learning culture. It's not just about formal training. Like these things are important, they need to be there, but it's not just about that. I got a lot of companies that comes with me, okay, Eduardo, we have full of learning here. We have formal training for everyone, but it's not just that. Like we are talking here about much more profound things, not just hard skills that you get doing internet courses, right? And it's not just about cycle reviews. Like I have a lot of customers that tell me, okay, I have cycle reviews, I have continuous improvement. It's not just that, right? You need to make people part of the solution, not part of the problem. I love a concept that is in the market out there that is really making a lot of success that is called psychological safety. And psychological safety is about giving people a work environment that they are trusted to fail, giving people a work environment that they feel that they are included, that they feel they are part of that, right? So we need to create a learning culture with psychological safety. And how we do that? We need to create spaces for people to share and learn. And this needs to start from the top. I had a CEO that asked me about how I actually start a learning culture. I told him, okay, you start you sharing a failure that you did, because this will make people understand that you're vulnerable, that you are with them, that they can trust you for making failures and learn from their mistakes. So you need to use storytelling, starting for the top, sharing your failures and focusing on the learning part of that. And this is how you actually create a learning culture, because these are creating this space will enable people to understand that they can go there and share about what they want every time, and that they will be heard, and that discussions will actually enhance the knowledge of everyone. So this is what learning is all about. So it's not just about formal training, it's just about cycle reviews. It's not just about sprint retrospective. It's about creating space for people to share and learn together. And this is how you start a culture. Okay, this is it for learning. The next value that we have here is motivation. So how you actually motivate your teams, how you actually make the link for people to come to work every day motivated, so they know what they are accountable for, right? They know that they are actually in a learning environment. So this is how people are motivated. And the key question for motivation is why? You remember the power of W's? Like people always emphasize a lot about that, but why is a very important question. And why you're doing this? And if the question starts with, okay, because I'm told to. I think people are really not motivated here. In the other side, if just for the money, come on, people are not motivated enough, right? Money is part of the compensation package and it's part of keeping people motivated, but it's not about that. It's not about opportunity. People need to know what they are part of, need to know what they're producing, and need to actually own the results of what they're doing via accountability. So the key things about motivation are sorry about that. Let's come back. Okay, it starts with a clear vision, right? So if your company do not have a vision, if you start asking people, do you know what the vision of the company is? People need to know that. People need to know why they're doing the things and what part of what they do are linked to that vision. So I know companies always have a vision, right? But are these visions really cascaded down to the teams, right? They're just not beautiful words in a presentation. They're not just words that people review in the all hands meeting. So this really needs to be fed from above and cascaded from above, but broken down from below into achievable goals. When you actually get what your people do broke down into achievable goals and link it to a vision, they will really be motivated. So if you get the results of your sprint and can link that to the company vision, what I proposed sometimes to a company was, okay, so the question was how I actually link the vision to what people do. I would say start asking people in the retrospective, on the sprint retrospective, what they can actually, how they can actually see what they done, the results that they done in that interaction. How is it linked to the vision? And idea will start popping up like, okay, I delivered that and I see that customers can do that XYZ 10 times faster than they used to do before. And this is linked to my company vision of being the best tool for XYZ because they're doing that faster, right? So this is how you actually foster motivation within teams. Linking what you do into achievable goals. And you can do further steps with that, like creating metrics for that, like breaking really that down to the company vision in terms of motivation. Like this is the company vision, and we are, I don't know, 20% better, or I don't. They're not like really real numbers, but it can be like 0.01% better. It already motivates people. Or you can link that to money, right? I had some companies that said, okay, how much revenue this brought back to me. And these are things you can measure and motivate people, right? Another thing about motivation is that it does not need to be fully thought out. You can start motivating people with just start motivating. So we have a thought vision and we go from there. We ask people what they think about vision. We ask people if they are really motivated by that vision. And if not, maybe you're in the wrong spot. So we need to create spaces for talking about whys and motivation in our daily returns. It can start with sprint retrospective, but it needs to go further along. And when actually you create the spaces, people will get more and more used to that. And we start linking themselves, the things that they do with motivation, with the vision, right? Another key thing for motivation is people need to be part of something. So you need to hear your ideas of your team. Even if the ideas are not applicable at that time, do not cut the conversation. Create spaces for people to share. Create spaces for people to talk bullshit. Let's say that they do want to use a framework that is really prohibitive, you cannot use, but hear them. Hear them and make clear the motives why you're not doing that. Right? So people need to feel that they are part. They need to feel that they are being heard. Make sense? Good. Moving on to the next value here. The next value here is autonomy. And when you talk about autonomy, autonomy is like really the epitome or the promise of Scrum and any other agile methods, like really having autonomous teams. And the great thing about autonomy is that if you actually do not have all of the other dimensions balanced well, you never get your autonomous team, because autonomy together does not make any of these things work well. So the key question for autonomy is, do you think you have the necessary autonomy to do your job? And if the answer starts with, how I can give autonomy if they do not know things, right? How I can trust people if they do not know what they're doing? So yes, as I talked before, and then if this is the answer that you're getting, you need to raise the maturity of your team. So you need to be able to identify via learning what they need to learn, right? What we need to invest on, what I need to spend time on working with my group. And a great way of doing that is really starting a learning culture, right? It doesn't need to spend, you really do not need to spend money, you do not need to have budget. But if you have people that know more about it, about something that others, you create that space. So you create a session that Nick will share about the GS framework that is fantastic that he's using. Share it, right? My DevOps want to share about the CDCI tool that we use, right? That about the pipeline he had just created, step by step, so everyone would know. So it's not just enabling by giving tools, but enabling by sharing knowledge. So yes, this is not the answer to this question. And another one, like, my manager never listened to me, right? And this would be okay. a great indication that you need to work in autonomy. And another great thing of autonomy is that you can start with little things. It's a daily exercise. So we start with, okay, let the team decide the time that they want to do a meeting. Let them decide the tool that they're going to use, the editor that they are going to use on the desktop. You really do not need to have standardized things for everything. The standards are fantastic, but they are good to set minimum boundaries and never to limit improvement. So again, listen to your team, and you can start giving autonomy on the little things. People need to know that they're being heard, right? Of course, this needs trust. And what's the way of really getting trust? Start with little things. Start with little things, and we go from there, right? Giving people autonomy step by step, and can start trusting them to do the things, and go from there, right? So this is how you actually work autonomy with your teams. Again, autonomy goes alongside with all of the other values, so it's not just autonomy, but without autonomy, your teams will never be able to improve, and without all of the other values, you'll never be able to get up to autonomous teams. Victoria, how we are with the timing here?
We're a little behind schedule, so did you want to go to the first exercise?
No, I need to pass through more 4 slides very quickly to propose the framework, and we go to there.
Okay.
So based on all of that, I created the Alma framework that represents the essence of your company. What I did is actually divided these values into dimensions and how these values are actually perceived into your company in terms of layers. So for accountability, it's known as a 0, so nothing. Board only, so the board feels that they are accountable. Area management knows what they're accountable for. Team leadership, if you talk to team leaders, they know, but people do not know. So these are the levels. So start from the top, cascade that down until the people level. Learning, it really describes how the learning is implemented. So it's not just where it's perceived, but how the learning is implemented. So it started with known. Then one would be like some formal training. 2 would be, okay, I have some cycle reviews, so I have sprint retrospective, right? If we are talking about Scrum. We have a cycled process reviews if we are talking about Six Sigma, and go from there. 3 would be, okay, I actually have reviews baked into the process. So in the process itself, I have reviews that happens continuously. And then 4 it will be, okay, I have a learning culture, I have guilds, I have people that I actually use it to share, to storytell to everyone. I have spaces where people do that continuously. Motivation, so describes how and who follows the company vision. And again, this is really important for people to understand that it's not just about having a vision, but having the vision perceived throughout the company, and how what people do are linked to that. So it starts with scratch, no vision. We have a vision somewhere that we sometimes review in the all hands meeting, right? 2, upper management, so they always talk about that, so it's a good start. Then cascade that down to team leadership. And when you actually do this step, it will be, okay, team leadership just do not know what the vision is, but has achievable goals tied into that, right? So it's really important when you actually get to the next step here on the 3, it means team's leadership knows what to do, and they have achievable goals tied to that. And the 4 will be, okay, people know what the vision, and especially how they can contribute here. So again, the power of W's, the power of 8s, right? How they contribute to the vision. Basically, they actually know the link of what they do with the vision of the company. Last one is autonomy. So autonomy describes who is trusted by the company to make decisions. So it's about decision making. It's about people, in what levels of the company people are autonomous to make decisions. So first one, no one, just the boss. Upper management only. Area management, cascaded down to team leadership and everyone, full autonomy. And again, this does not work well together. And we'll see that in the exercises for Alma. That's the next step that we are doing that, because we will be able to see how all of the dimensions are working throughout the company. Okay, so this is how I proposed the Alma framework. So based on these 4 values, I created 4 dimensions where these values are cascaded down to your company, and you can plot a graph. That is just an example on the right-hand side here of accountability, learning, motivation, and autonomy. And we will do an exercise where you guys will be able to plot that for a company that I have created here. So, medium-sized company. They sell a boxed solution for anything. It can be a tax reporting, it can be a CRM, it can be anything. They implemented Scrum for development team 3 years ago. The clients are not satisfied with the quality of the features that are being launched and companion to management. The development leadership says, everything's fine with the process. I have the tickets completed, velocity is even improving. So yes, development leadership thinks that things are very well. When we talk about with the squads, they say that they just do what they asked for. They do not know what's wrong. They also say that their ideas are always being rejected. But when things go wrong, they are the first ones to blame. They feel they own the failures and not the results. So based on this scenario, I asked Victoria to break out the rooms here. I will just share the links. How many people we have right now, Victoria?
We have 12 participants at the moment.
Okay, so 12 participants, we maybe can do 4 groups of 3, right? But we use this tab, medium size company, and you guys will have 10 minutes to plot the Alma here for this company. We do not have all of the information that we need for plotting all of the dimensions, and this is in purpose. I want you guys to make assumptions based on this scenario so we can discuss that together when you guys come back. So yes, 10 minutes for doing that. And then we'll come back to the main session. Please elect one of you guys to be the presenter for your group. And let me know who the presenter is. And I will go to the spreadsheet and share that with my screen so you guys can present that.
I will try to explain about my group. If I can, I will ask for help for my partners, my group partners. So we understand for this scenario, the company score is low scores for both dimensions. And the accountability and learning, we chose 1 because they have something scores about this, some points when they know what to do, but it's low. For us, motivation is 0. We understand that they aren't motivation for do their jobs in this scenario, and we can find that they have some autonomy in this company is our area manager for the squads. Yeah, I think is that.
So basically, you guys, so just let's go value by value and we can discuss a little bit. So guys, place it accountability as just board only. So basically, the task itself is not saying anything that will tell you guys the other way. Like if you just go to squad says that you just would do what is asked and do not know what's wrong, it's clear that they do not have accountability on what they do, right? They do not actually own what they do. And also if you, the key phrase for that is that they feel they own the failures and not the results, right? And I agree with you guys, accountability is really low. You guys could score board only or area management, it will be something like that. And I think accountability is there just in upper levels, right? Because the teams do not feel that they are accountable for anything based on the phrase itself. And for learning, you guys placed some training, right? Some training. Do you know the why? Because you guys placed it like some training here, or you just placed it because you didn't find any of the information here?
There wasn't any information in there, or there was little information, but they did have a process. So the process was trained, and so they did some learning.
Dennis got it. Here we go. That was the key for that. So yes, they had some learning, they have some process. You could put here like 1 or 2. There's no right or wrongs with that. It's an exercise for us to understand your assumptions and discuss based on that. And motivation, you guys place it, no motivation. And the why on that, Dennis?
Because they didn't feel that they were part of something because they weren't heard. Right? So it's hard to be motivated when you're going to make suggestions. So they had some, but I think it all went away.
Good assumptions. Yeah, this is great. I mean, the task itself says that they really do not know, they really do not link anything of what they do with the vision of the company, right? So yes, they can be motivated for something, could be a 0, 1 or something, but yes, clearly it's not at the team level. Great.
They haven't a real purpose to work in this case.
Yeah, they do not have, right? They have,
Exactly.
The purpose is just like do repeatedly what you do every day. So this is no motivation. Good. And for autonomy, you guys place it area management, right? And the whys on that? Dennis, Ricardo, anyone?
Okay. It sounded like there was a fear element in there in terms of, so the autonomy, you would have to feel that there was a trust relationship to be able to go off and kind of take the lead and do something or recommend something. And so they weren't heard, and they thought, and they were the first ones to blame. So blame kind of kills autonomy in my books.
Yeah, it's a great quote. Yeah, fantastic. Like I agree on that too. If you start blaming people, you just kill autonomy because you're just telling people what to do. Yeah, and the test was really not in purpose again, telling anything about really autonomy. The only thing that it says about autonomy, and it was also a good phrase to catch into on these would be, they also say that all of the ideas are rejected. So if they cannot do anything new, no autonomy at all. So either like just upper management, area management, or something like that. And I think that you guys also might have placed it area management because it has like the development leadership says something, right? So it might sound that they are being directed. Yep, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, group 1. So now group 2, who will present on group 2?
I believe we've lost a couple members just because they had other meetings to go to, so I can present for group 2. Heidi, are you still here? I think she had to go.
Yeah, I've got to go in just a couple minutes. I can get started, and then I apologize. I'm going to have to sign off.
No problem.
Okay, so did you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then I can take over, Heidi.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, you can see ours looks like a heart. We thought that was kind of cute. I think they need a little more caring and love in this organization. So, so you can see our scores were also low for a lot of the same reasons that group 1 identified. We actually gave accountability a 0. The fact that the clients are complaining, but leadership says everything's fine, that tells us that nobody has any accountability. So that's why we gave it a 0. We gave learning a 1, like the other group identified. There's clearly some training. They've implemented Scrum and they have a process, so there must have been some training. We gave motivation a 2. I guess that was the highest score we gave. Again, because there seems to be some vision. You know, they've implemented Scrum. They're getting through their tickets. Their velocity has improved. So there are some things working, but certainly not high points. And then autonomy, we gave that a 1. I guess we made the assumption that somebody has some autonomy, but so we gave it to upper management, but it's certainly not clear. There's certainly not autonomy in the area management and further down through the organization. So that was where we landed. And I have to run, so thank you very much, Eduardo. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you, Heidi,
and
for joining in.
Take care.
Take
Hi,
care.
Heidi. Thank you.
Thank you.
So basically for this group, it's interesting that when you say that accountability is not there, it's like the way that you guys figured out that was very interesting. Like if the customers are complaining and team leadership is saying everything's fine, so yes, no accountability. So it was really interesting the ways that you guys figured out that. So great for that. Also, I will just share my screen again to the people that is here. And then we'll do a different breakouts for the next session, Victoria. Yeah, so, and then you guys placed it 1 on learning. Again, we have some processes, right? We have something, and one is indicating that, so great. Again, no rights and wrongs here. For motivation, you guys indicated that upper management vision, right? The interesting thing here is that do we have some whys for people that are already here in the group to tell me where you guys figure out some motivation here on the upper management? So you guys made an assumption that they at least have a vision and pursue something. Is that right?
I think where we landed there was that we scored on the motivation side because, you know, tickets were getting completed and the velocity was even improving. So there's obviously work being done. So I think that's where we scored a little bit higher on the motivation side of things. And the squads, they're doing what they've been asked to do, but they're not going beyond that.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, it's a good way of seeing that. But again, it's a good point to note that this framework is not about any method or not about like improving a method that exists. It's more than that, right? We already have a process and go from there. So they can keep completing tickets and they can keep like doing their routines and can score lower motivation. Remember that motivation is like where the vision is perceived within the organization and not just if we are actually improving and completing stuff. But it's a good point. It's a fair point, and the assumption is right too. And on the autonomy, you guys place it 1. It's fair too because it's really low. Again, we at least are assuming that someone is accountable for something in the organization, right? At least upper management, if they believe in the company. Great. So thanks for the presentation, group 2. We now are going to the next one for the startup.
Everyone doing?
Okay, guys, we're back. How was the exercise? Easier this time?
Yes.
Easier
Good.
this time, definitely, I think.
Good. So who is going to present for group 1? Can share the screen. I believe Clemence needs to do it because Dennis was not being able to.
So were we group 1? I think we were group 1. I can present for our group.
Oh, you were group 1. Sorry, I thought it was group 1. We were group 1. Okay, no worries. So yeah, do that, please.
Okay. So just give me 1 sec here. Can everyone see?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we rated our accountability for a 3. We felt like The CTO really gave a lot of, had a lot of trust in the staff. They felt that they were, you know, completely, it says 100% capable to do the job. There's a lot of trust there. So we put it at a 3. We didn't put it at a 4 because we felt like there was just still not, they still weren't completely meeting their targets. So we didn't want to put them at the full top level. So that's why we have it there at a 3. The learning, we felt like there was still a lot of learning to be done in terms of who to serve and what the next step was for them. They're still lacking a little bit of structure. So there's still some learning there in terms of knowing how to move forward and accomplish goals. So we put that as a 2. For motivation, we felt that there was pretty high motivation. People were bought into the company vision. They really wanted to do well and grow, but we didn't put it at 4 because we felt that they still didn't really completely know where to go or where their direction was. So their motivation would be stifled by that because they're feeling maybe a bit frustrated. And then for autonomy, same thing. We felt like they were given a lot of autonomy, but they didn't necessarily have the tools to harness that autonomy and really accomplish what they were setting out to do.
Interesting. So the way that you guys place it here, like accountability on a higher score, accountability is something that people know what exactly they own. When you hear the phrase like people do not know who to serve, this was the key for accountability in this scenario. Again, there are no right and wrongs. It's just making assumptions so you guys can use this framework to assess your teams. But accountability, I believe, if we use this phrase as a key here, it will be ranked a little lower. For learning part, you guys are right. I would not even like rate learning as a 2. They do not have a process really well or a place for people to share. They're just like trying to do the things as they go. The key phrase for that was they think they do not have time as they are always on fire. So learning will be rated real low here. On motivation, it's a kind of an interesting thing. Startups tends to have motivated people in parts, but they really do not know how to link that motivation to the company vision in terms of knowing how to link what they're doing with that. So yes, motivation might be there for the startup, but it lacks a lot of cascading down and structuring there. So people actually understand what they are part on and what part of what they do really makes them linked to the vision. Autonomy, you're right. The intention was when you get the phrase like, he trusts 100% the team to do the job. Team says that they have everything to do the job. The intention was to really rank autonomy higher. So the idea here was to illustrate a company that has a lot of autonomy. People can do a lot of things, sometimes even motivated, with feeling of some accountability, but still with a lot of things to do on the learning part. So this is a scenario that I encounter a lot of startups I work with. So people tend to be, okay, I want to do things are improving, things are well, and they actually get founded. They actually get a round of investment or something like that, and they need to double the size of the team. And okay, they need to put their feet on the ground, take some steps back on autonomy, take some steps back on accountability to really grow in a constant and sustainable rate to cascade those things down to the team. So really in a situation to structure things more than, okay, we have full autonomy people, our teams do well, they can do whatever they want. It's not just like that. So we need to take some steps back. And that was the idea for this scenario. Great work, group 1. So group 2, who's going to present that?
Permissions.
All right. Can you all see this?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So our ratings are a bit lower than group 1. we decided for motivation that they clearly have a vision because they've just completed a round of investment in order to double the size of the team. So there is a vision to grow and to improve. However, we didn't feel that it went much further than having this grand idea of doubling the size of the team. And it kind of goes with the accountability. It goes hand in hand because there is, obviously the top layer of management has this goal and that they know what they want to do, which is double the size, but it isn't trickling down. There isn't, with all these statements, there isn't it doesn't seem that anybody has a clear idea of what they should be doing and why they should be doing it. So we scored them pretty low on that. And Dennis, feel free to jump in if I'm missing something.
Doing fine.
For as far as the learning goes, there's obviously some training that is being done that is part of their process because they obviously seem to have a process. But the fact that they're getting lost on who to serve first and what's the next step is definitely a bit of concern and an area to grow. Yeah, and then what did I miss? Autonomy. So autonomy, they seem to score. We scored them quite high on that because the feedback from the teams is that they have everything they need. The same thing that the CTO is saying that the product is working fine, that he trusts his team to do the job. So they seem to be very autonomous. They just don't necessarily focus in the right areas because there is no accountability.
I'd like to chime in on that in terms of the autonomy. In as much as there's a disconnect between the CTO and the customer base. Customers are unhappy. CTO says everything's fine. He trusts the team, and yet the team is busy firefighting and can't give him what he wants, right? So there's this stated, right, statement of autonomy, and then there's kind of, if you look at it, it's kind of like it doesn't look like there is any, right? So it was, which side do you want to kind of pick to rate, right, in terms of kind of their goals or kind of their achievements?
Great. Yeah. I think you guys fully got it. The idea of the scenario was actually getting a team that is immature in terms of processes and is immature in terms of actually working with the dimensions of the framework and just have autonomy. So they're just like, okay, I can do whatever I want, right? And take a lot of steps back. And the link that you guys made with the round of investment was fantastic. Really good. So yes, they have something for a vision. Otherwise, they'll never be founded. And this was a really great link and a really great analysis on that. So again, there are no right and wrongs here. The idea is to teach you guys how to make these links so you guys can do that with your team. Thanks a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. I hope you guys enjoyed the framework and see applicability that with your teams. And again, thanks a lot for joining in. It was a great discussion.